Hi, how's everybody doing today? It is Wednesday, January 20th, and there's a lot of stuff happening in the world today. So if you're here and you're tuned in with everything else that's happening, thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking your time. My name is Joe Mazgay, and I am West Coast Soul. I am at West Coast Soul on Instagram and Facebook. I am westcoastsoul.16, westcoastsoul16.ca, westcoastsoul16@gmail.com. And the 16 is important to me because it's a reminder of where I started, where I came from, and how much growing I've done. West Coast Soul is my umbrella of love. I run all sorts of different programs, circles, retreats, and it's all about community, healing, acceptance, personal growth, and self-connection. If you're joining me now, give me a hashtag live, tell me where you're from, and if you're joining me later, give me a hashtag repeat so I know where you're coming from there also, because I like to know these things. I like to know who's watching and where you're from. I'd like to see how far we can take this message because I think it's a very important one. Today we're talking about self-worth. And self-worth is a big one. And it's a kind of misunderstood one. And we're gonna get into that, obviously, but I want to tell you a bit of a story first. So I invite you just to take a breath and listen. You can close your eyes if you want, you can do whatever you want, however you're comfortable, but really just listen because there's a beautiful message in this. I invite you to imagine somebody receives a gift of a priceless gold statue. But this person didn't understand its value. Does that make it less valuable? What if they used it as a doorstop? What if they just chucked it in the attic or a garage or somebody picked it up at a garage sale? What if they called it a worthless piece of junk? Would any of this stuff make the gold less valuable? Would it decrease its actual value? Would it mean that the person just had no idea how fortunate they were that they had such a valuable possession? Wouldn't you just wish somebody realized the value of this treasure? Wouldn't it be amazing if somebody would respect and appreciate it and gave it all the love, all the respect, all the honor it deserves? Because, my friends, this is you. You are the treasure. You are the statue. And if somebody else doesn't see your worth, it has nothing to do with you or what's internal with you. It has to do with somebody else not realizing how fortunate they are to have you in their life. But fortunately for us, unlike a statue, if we're not being valued, we're not being appreciated, we can walk away. You know, what do they say? Bye, Felicia. See ya. I'm out because I'm not being respected. Self-worth is not determined by someone else's opinion. Who does determine self-worth? Is it your peers? Is it your family? Maybe they have an opinion, whatever, so they do. Is it fashion trends like social media and celebrities? Perhaps they're influencing it. Or diet ads and different marketing campaigns and companies. Or criticism from your peers. All of these might influence your self-worth, but they do not determine it. They do not get to tell you what you are worthy of. Only you can do that. That's it. Your self-worth is internal. It comes from your beliefs. Your self-confidence and your self-esteem, those are all absolutely external. But your self-worth is the sense of one's value as a person. And I determine my value. I determine what I'm going to put up with. I determine who I let in my life. Self-esteem and self-confidence. Those are more about what we believe about our skill sets, about our beauty, about our accomplishments. It's all ego-based, but self-worth comes from within. Self-worth says, I am greater than all these things. I have a deeper knowing that I am of value, that I am lovable. I am worthy of this life. And it all comes from self. Self-love, self-confidence, self-care. Self-worth, is determined by how you value yourself. What standards you hold yourself up to, and what things that you choose to say yes or no to. I know it sounds easy, right? But honestly, in real life, it's really hard. It's really hard to determine or to maintain self-worth when everything out there is meant to sell us something else. There's an amazing quote by Abraham Lincoln, and I really, really like it. It really made a big difference to me, and it is this: "It is difficult to make a man miserable if he feels worthy of himself." And there's so much truth to that. Because then somebody can blast you and blast you and blast you with whatever they want. But when your self-worth is strong, it's like water on a duck's back. Let it flow, let it go. It's not your stuff. If you're struggling with your self-worth, let me tell you this: self-worth holds the power to radically transform your life. And it's all for the better. You have that power. Why does it matter? Why does it matter what my self-worth is? Well, it does matter, because low self-worth can make you really feel lost in this world. And I've been there, and I've got some big things coming up that's going to talk more about that. But it's a really sad and scary place to feel lost or alone. Low self-esteem, is really impactful on body issues, trust issues. When you have no self-connection, it's really difficult to be connected to self, to feel worthy of self, and be connected to others. And not to mention, the mental drain is exhausting. That constant inner critic running your mind. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not this enough. All has to go. Because that self-pressure, that internal pain, that worry is absolutely heartbreaking and exhausting and detrimental on your own self-worth. When you're looking at your self-worth, something that's really important, something that's really good to take in is, who do you surround yourself with? Who is around you that's building you up? Remember we talked about boundaries yesterday? Whose outside voices are you taking in? Because there are different types of people in the world. There are the types of people who are critical, and then there are types of people who are supportive, right? How can I live a positive life and work on my self-worth when I am surrounded by negative people? And I understand that there are some you can't escape. Absolutely. But there are some you can escape, and those you can't escape, you don't have to take it all in. You can say, for somebody who is what I call that negative Nelly, that might be true for you, but it's not true for me. And when I started understanding that we all had our own truths and we all had our own stories, it was much easier for me to say, oh, that's your truth. Oh, that's your story. But that has nothing to do with me and where I stand. And then if it's not family, or if it's not immediate coworkers, maybe ask yourself, why are you always surrounded by negative people? What can you control? What can you release? When we are doing the self-work, especially internally, so be aware of your surroundings. We can't change anybody else. We can only change ourselves. But be mindful, of the reactions you're going to get from people who don't want to see you change. But we talked about that yesterday. Not everybody wants to see you change. Not everybody wants to support you change. So have that awareness. But also remember that you come first. Your self-worth right now is your priority on how you're going to move forward. You deserve happiness. You deserve health, wealth, success, love, regardless of what life has given you up till now. You are deserving of all of these things, regardless of anything you've experienced, of anybody else's opinions, of where you've come from. None of that matters at the end of the day. Fuck anyone else's opinions. They are not your concern. Your heart, your self-worth, that's your concern. And when you learn to accept yourself wholeheartedly, your self-worth will automatically come up a notch and come up a notch and come up a notch the more you do it. My great friend Lizzie has a quote, and I love it. And Lizzie, I'm grateful for it. I can only do the best I can do with the knowledge I have. That's it. So if I've made a mistake because I didn't know any better, I made a mistake. But now I know better, and now I can do better. Does that make sense? you can't beat yourself up for not having that knowledge. Something that also works amazing for building up our self-worth are self-affirmations. And when you're new to self-affirmations, I understand that they can feel a little bit silly, but I invite you to try to begin. And you can begin as simple as every morning, I am love, I am enough, and I am worthy. And for a lot of people, that's going to feel uncomfortable. And when it feels uncomfortable, that means you're growing, because we grow in those uncomfortable phases. So I would invite you that if it feels uncomfortable, to keep going until it's no longer feels silly, till it no longer feels uncomfortable. And when you get to that point, expand them. I am worthy of great love. I am enough for this lifetime. I am worthy of boundaries. I am connected to myself first. Let them expand and they will feel good. And you don't even have to think about them once it's actually in there. Appreciating our bodies. This is a really hard one for a lot of women, especially when you look at social media campaigns and marketing. I know magazines are a thing of the past, and I'm about to age myself, but if you ever opened up a women's page, on one page, it's a recipe of a decadent, chocolate cake, and then the next one is a dieting ad. And it's yo, 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 because they want to keep you in a stage of constant up and down because you're sold. But if you can stop looking at those ads and stop seeing that and appreciate your body for what it is and what she does, you're going to grow. This is my vessel in this life journey. I am a woman and I have curves. I have children. I have breasts. I have a booty. And you know what? It feels really good, actually. How does your body feel for you? What makes it feel good? Because you are worthy of doing the things that make you feel good. For some people, it's running. Amazing. For some people, it's resting. For some people, it's yoga. For some people, it's cardio. You have to determine what works for you and then say, I am worthy of this. I am worthy of what works for me. I enjoy this. And that also comes into your self-talk. How do we improve our self-talk? We are innately our worst critics. Our self-criticism is terrible. There used to be that golden rule. I don't know if everybody in kindergarten still hears this, but we used to hear the saying, treat others as you would be treated, right? But I think we've gone too far. And what if we asked ourselves to treat ourselves as we treated others? To treat ourselves as we treat our best friend or somebody we admire. Flipping that script would do wonders on us. And having the awareness that that self-talk is in there, but you can change it. You have that, and that's an empowering thought and an empowering feeling. What if you caught that negative self-talk and could counter it with 3 positives? 3 positives for every negative. Everything would change in your life in a month. I promise you that. What if you were able to live your life completely in the present? How many of us are going to take family pictures when we lose 50 pounds? How many of us are going to be happier when we buy that house, when I have a child, when I'm married, when I get this job title? I'm going to feel great. Now we're living in the past. And how about those of us who are stuck in our glory days of high school? Oh, I had this. Oh, I had that. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Now we're not living in the present. We're stuck in the past. And we're in that comparison trap that is really, really toxic. When you live in the present, when you're able to look around and see what you're surrounded by right here, right now, it is so much easier to appreciate what's right in front of you. I live in a home with a dog, a cat, and 3 kids. I am blessed. We are warm. We are fed. We are healthy. We laugh. I am blessed. Connecting with like-hearted people. Whew, This is huge. And I have to give another shout out to my friend Susie, who changed my language from like-minded to like-hearted, because I'm not a mind. I don't think from my head. I come from my heart every single time. So when you find other like-hearted people who you connect to heart, and they see your value and they see your worth, you're going to see it a lot more. You will be happier at the end of the day spending the day with somebody who sees your worth, who's encouraging you, who says wonderful things to you and about you, than somebody who's criticizing you all day, every day. It's just such common sense that none of us have until we have to. So being around more like-hearted people is incredible. Another part of self-worth is exercise. How are you treating your body? I'm not going to get too much into this because I have a big surprise on Friday. On Friday, I have my friend is joining me, and we're going to talk about the mind-body connection and taking care of our bodies. And I have a story to that, and we'll get there on Friday. But taking care of ourselves, taking care of this vessel, I am worthy of this. And when you can change the language and pull it away from shame and actually turn it to, I am worthy of taking care of my body. I am worthy of that healthy salad over whatever else there is, a bag of chips out of the pantry. I am worthy of drinking more water today because my body requires it. It flips the script in your mind. And exercise isn't easy for a lot of people. You know, we're fearful, we're intimidated. I don't want to go to the gym and be surrounded by all these size 4 girls in their Lulus. I just don't feel comfortable. But what I can do, and what we can do, is we can start and we can set our own attainable goals. You know, if today you take one walk around the block and you haven't walked around the block in a month, that's progress. And if it takes you, you know, a bit of time to get around that block, and that's enough for you for today, okay. And then maybe tomorrow we're taking 2 blocks. And we're going to take our steps forward a bit at a time in a comfortable way that we know we are worthy of doing for ourselves. When we set attainable goals, it doesn't feel so intimidating sometimes. And also, we can still set those big goals. Say perhaps my goal is to get back into another warrior dash, and we're going to talk about that on Friday. Maybe we have a huge goal, and right now you look at that goal and it's intimidating. But what if we break it down into smaller chunks? We break it down into smaller chunks, and then we celebrate those chunks as they come. We celebrate them as milestones that are bringing us to the goals that we are worthy of attaining. That's okay. We're allowed to do this. Releasing judgment, not just of others, but of ourselves. Don't judge yourself for the things you've done when you didn't have knowledge otherwise. Stop comparing. I can't compare myself to my neighbors, to my sisters, to anyone else, because we all have our own stories. We all have our own things that have brought us here. Every single one of us. We have different paths. We've had different lessons. Our stories up to now are what they are. But what we control is the ending. I can control moving forward how I'm going to treat myself. I can control moving forward what I'm going to tolerate because of what I am worthy of. That's huge. And sometimes it's really hard to do that because you see what other people want you to see, right? We put out on social media our highlight reels. We put out the best parts of our day. I don't put out on my Facebook that I had to yell at my son 5 times to put on his boots to get to school. Who writes that? I don't write that. I wrote, kids are at school. Whew, that's it. Not the struggle I went through to get there. And maybe from the outside, you know, my life looks different than your life. And you're thinking, how is she doing that? Or somebody else down the street has a different life than my life. And I'm like, how is she doing that? How is she affording that? What if I invited you to flip the script of envy? When we envy somebody, when we envy their lifestyle, when we envy what they have, we're stuck in this pattern of, oh, you have that, I don't want you to have that. Or you have that and I dislike you for having that because it makes me feel less than. Right? If we can flip the script of envy and turn it into admiration, it all changes. Because now I can look and say, wow, I really admire what an amazing mom Natalie is. Now I'm not envying her. Now I'm not feeling bad. Now I'm trying to come up to her. And this is similar to what we talked about within the masculine and the feminine. We're not pushing the masculine down. We're rising up and then we're rising up. So if I can look at my friend and say, gosh, she's an amazing mom. I sure admire her. All of a sudden, I'm going to be trying to come up and be at her level. It's a big difference when you can flip that script in your mind. I know it's a lot to take in, and I apologize. And this is only a mini. This is like, the big circles, girls. I am telling you, we're going to talk about it at the end. But the big circles, you get 10 times this information, but a conversation, because it's not just me. There's 15 of us going back and forth, and it's beautiful. If you surround yourself by like-hearted women, or men, if you surround yourself with people you admire and who admire you back, I invite you to begin paying attention to body language. How do they react to you? Making eye contact. Making eye contact in this day and age is so hard because constantly we're like this. We have our phones, our heads are down, There's no eye contact anymore. Even when you go into like a retail store, if you look someone in the eyes, they're uncomfortable, they will look away. 9 times out of 10, it's very uncommon to make eye contact with people you don't know, let alone people you do know. But, however you want to do that sentence, if you begin to take in more body language and you're surrounded by like-hearted women, you're going to see how they see you. And this will support you and this will build you up. I know who my friends are who lift me up. Absolutely, I do. I also know who my friends are who, if I'm angry, they're not going to calm me down. They're going to say, I'll put a shovel in the truck. Let me know who we're burying. Those are, my anger friends. And then I have my friends who I'm like, I'm having a hard day. I need to be talked out of this. And those are my friends who will lift me up. I know who my people are. So you will know who your people are who are going to see you for your worth. You're going to know who your people are who are going to support your self-worth. Look into the eyes of your children if you're a mom. If you have a young child, the way they look at us with such love, such admiration, such I want to be grown up like you, it's beautiful. But we somehow miss it, and it's hard. Understand that when you keep a positive mindset also in a present time, where your focus goes, energy flows, which can be said in so many different ways. What you focus on comes back to you. What you put out comes back to you. But it is true. Your attitude will manifest what comes back to you. So putting out positive attitudes, putting out I am worthy, the more you say it, the easier it becomes. Self-worth is an inside job. And if you fall, if you stumble, you're just growing. Understand it. You're adopting a growth mindset will show you how much further you're going, not how much further you have to go. And being grateful for the lessons, for the growth, for the opportunity, and for the experiences. Right down to my page. My page is at westcoastsoul16.ca. The 16 is the year I began. So now it's 2021. I look back 5 years I've been on this journey with West Coast Soul. And oh my God, the growth is outstanding. That is one little way for me to remind myself where I started and how far I've come. Because along the way, we're going to stumble, we're going to fall, but we're still moving forward. Because the growth is when it feels like it sucks. The growth is when you're uncomfortable. And if it was easy, you wouldn't feel so good about it at the end of the day, about what you've accomplished. Sometimes it's really hard to say, I am worthy. But the more you do it and the more you're surrounded by like-hearted women, the easier it is to find and see your own self-worth. And the easier it's going to start to become to exchange your self-criticism for self-compassion. Self-compassion is absolutely necessary in this life because none of us are born perfect. And we all are on a journey and we are all learning. So I am compassionate of mindful of where I started, and that shows me how far I've come. What if I invited you to list your accomplishments? List what you're great at. Now be careful of the ego trap. Be careful of that. This is not what we're looking for. But what about looking back and realizing, I did this on my own. I am raising these kids. I am worthy of seeing my beauty. That would really make you feel really great. If you want to, another way to really boost up your self-worth, help someone else. Help somebody who doesn't have what you have. Help somebody come up in the world. Help somebody see their own worth. These make huge, huge differences in self. Doing something creative. Oh my goodness. Cooking, art, music, dancing, all of these creative energies lift you up. And they're really a lot of fun to do. Heal your past. Nobody wants to hear that. I understand that. But healing your past will make a world of difference on where you are now. And if you need help, reach out. I have an amazing community. I run these circles to create community. And if you need more of the mental wellness support, I have the resources at hand to help you out. This is why I do what I do. If I can't help you, if I can't find you the answers, I promise you I will be able to find somebody who does. You know what's really difficult to do when you have low self-worth? Accept compliments. How many times do we hear a compliment and try to push it back? Like, oh no, oh no, I didn't. Oh, and then we laugh at ourselves. I invite you as the day or the week follows, I guess let's go with a week because we're not seeing so many people face to face at the moment. If somebody pays you a compliment, 2 words, thank you. That's it. And accept it. Accept that it was heartfelt from the person who gave it forward. A simple thank you. And as you come through this journey, be strong enough, find the strength to give up the others who think you should be someone else in favor of who you want to be, of who you are. Because they're not doing you any favors. If somebody is critical, if somebody is toxic, if somebody is trying to control you, it's really hard to find your own self-worth in that. Let that relationship go. Because if you're putting out now much more positive energy, what's going to happen is that critic is going to fall away. And that critic is likely repelling others who want to come to you. But won't, because why are you surrounding yourself with negative Nelly over there? Oh, negative Nelly's gone. Now you're more approachable because I think you're like-hearted to me. And those negative energies are going to fall away and they're going to be replaced by somebody more like-hearted when you are vulnerable enough and courageous enough to put yourself first, to put yourself out there authentically. Not who you think people want you to be, find you and put you out there because you're worthy of being known. You're worthy of being seen and you're worthy of being validated. And if you have a really hard time with that, I invite you to repeat the following things. I am worthy of being loved for being myself. I am worthy of living a passionate life. I am worthy of saying no. And I am worthy of exploring what feels good for me. Because you are. I am. You are. I thank you all very much for joining me today. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a lot more about self-connection. And then on Friday, we're pulling it all together with mind, body, spirit with my good friend, Michelle. She's going to be joining us. And actually, after that, we have a surprise for everybody who's choosing to follow me on this journey. My name is Jo Mazgay. I am at West Coast Soul. I run women's circles from my heart because they saved my life. My next session of Women's Circles starts next Thursday. I will post the schedule again. It's on my page. It's on my website at West Coast Soul 16. I'm very accessible. Reach out. I promise to reply. I hope you all have a wonderful Wednesday, and I will see you back here tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and we're going to really get into self-connection. Have a fabulous day. Thanks.